Welcome. In this video, we will talk about one of the most important elements of drum instruments, the kick. We will discuss the key aspects of kick synthesis and show you how to create your own unique kick sound for your music productions. We will explore various synthesis methods used to create deep and powerful kick sounds, and discuss how to apply sound processing to achieve the best results. This video will be a useful and interesting source of information for all electronic music enthusiasts and professional musicians who want to improve their knowledge of sound synthesis. The sound of a bass drum is produced by the vibrations of a membrane that is stretched over the base of the drum. When the membrane is struck, it begins to vibrate, creating a sound wave. Inside the drum, there is an air cavity that acts as a resonator, amplifying the sound of the bass drum. There are several important parameters for an EDM kick. Attack is the initial part of the sound that occurs when the membrane is struck. This parameter determines how quickly or slowly the sound begins after the strike. Sustain is the duration of the sound after the strike, when the membrane is vibrating and producing sound. Decay is the decay of the sound after the membrane has stopped vibrating. Low frequencies are the range of low frequencies that determine the bass character of the bass drum sound. The presence or absence of overtones and their characteristics affect how bright the sound is and how it fits into the mix. Click is a high-frequency sound that is added to the bass drum sound to make it more expressive. In EDM music, the kick drum usually has a strong bass character and high volume to create an energetic and danceable rhythm. There are two main approaches to creating a bass drum in EDM music: sound synthesis and sound recording. Sound synthesis is the first approach. This is the process of creating sound using special software tools, such as synthesizers and samplers. Synthesizers use various algorithms and waveforms to create sound that can be adjusted and modified according to the project's needs. The second approach involves recording real drums or similar sounds and then adjusting them to achieve the desired sound using effects. This method is more time-consuming, but it allows for a more natural and lively sound. In the process of recording drums, microphones and sound recording equipment are used, and then the sound is subjected to various effects such as equalization, compression, and reverb to achieve the desired sound. Regardless of the approach chosen, it is important to consider the context in which the bass drum will be used. For example, in more danceable compositions, it may be preferable to use a synthesized sound, while in more lively and organic compositions, a recorded sound may be preferred. Overall, the choice of bass drum creation method depends on the project's preferences and needs, as well as the musician's ability to work with the appropriate instruments and technologies. Today, we will consider both options. Let's start with me telling you about the first way to create a kick synthesis. Let's launch FL Studio and open up the synthesizer where we will create our kick. First, we need to select a waveform, usually a sine or square wave. I'll choose a sine wave and lower the oscillator by 2 octaves. I've already talked to you about the sound of a real kick because we're going to mimic its behavior. So, let's start with hitting the membrane. To do this, we'll automate the pitch. I've already prepared LFO templates to save time, but you can create your own. Then we'll switch the mode to envelope, turn off BPM sync, and modulate the pitch of our oscillator. As for the parameters to use, it's a matter of taste and hearing, but overall, it's not complicated. And what about the volume? Let's modulate it to create the body of our kick. We can also modulate the filter to avoid high-frequency artifacts after effects processing and shape the body of our kick. Next on the list is decay. To do this, we'll turn on the sub-oscillator, lower it by 3 octaves, and modulate its volume. Then we'll edit the envelope section to set the final duration for our kick. And to emphasize the click, we can use a noise oscillator and look for additional attack for our kick. Now let's move on to effects. Which gentleman can go without distortion, compressor, and equalizer? For distortion, we'll choose the soft clip mode and modulate the drive and mix knobs to give the kick even more character. We'll set the compressor to multiband mode to remove unwanted clicks and highlight the low frequencies with mid-range. And of course, the equalizer. We'll choose the low-pass mode and modulate the frequency knob to avoid conflicts between oscillators and get a cleaner sound. Also, don't forget to turn on this knob so that our sub-oscillator is not affected by the effects. Now that we've done everything necessary, our basic kick is ready for post-processing and getting a unique sound. Let's improve our kick and add even more persuasion and power. How about some saturation? It will add a nasty groove and bring extra life to the sound. I think our kick could benefit from some distortion. Let's look for something interesting in the settings. This preset looks very appealing. And that's not all. Let's add a transient shaper to enhance the attack and overall clarity of the sound. I prefer to use my favorite shaper, but if you have your own preferences, please use them. By the way, I have a couple of presets for drums, so I can choose one of them right away. We've done a lot of work and now our kick sounds much punchier and energetic. Well, I think it's time to move on to the final stage of creating our kick. Okay, let's take our kick to the next level. Remember that layering is a powerful tool for creating additional dimension and depth in the sound. The first layer is a hi-hat that will make the sound attack even clearer and brighter. Next, I added a clap to create an organic and lively atmosphere. And to make everything even more interesting, I added a piece of atmospheric ambience. This will make the kick sound even more saturated. But here, the main thing to remember is that you can layer your drums with any sounds, and only your imagination sets the limits. You can easily experiment and use different sound combinations. Now we're moving on to an even more exciting method of creating a kick, recording sounds and transforming them. This method gives you complete creative freedom, as you can use anything to create a unique sound for the kick and beyond. Okay, I've recorded a few sounds on my phone. How can we resist experimenting? Let's listen and choose the best sound to create our kick. This sound sounds perfect. But before we can get the desired sound, we need to process it a little. The low frequencies should be more expressive, and the microphone noise on the high frequencies is definitely not needed. In addition, we will mix our future kick completely in mono. So, now we can start further processing and tuning our kick to make it sound better. Let's add a few more interesting effects to our kick. Firstly, we'll add some equalization to enhance the low frequencies and remove any unnecessary noise and dirty frequencies. We'll also cut some of the high frequencies to create a deeper and more powerful sound. Next, we'll add a transient shaper to give the kick even more attack and shape its sound. Adding a distortion effect is also necessary to give the sound a rougher and more unique character. Finally, we'll limit our sound to make it sound more even and professional. All of these actions will allow us to create a kick that sounds exactly the way we want it to, and that adds a special charm to our music. Let's continue working on our kick and add a few more touches. First, let's add another equalizer that will help us get rid of muddy frequencies. We will also need another transient shaper to give our kick more attack and shape. This will help it stand out in the mix and sound even more powerful. To finally get rid of unwanted high-frequency noise, we will add a filter and automate it to only work in the necessary places and not affect our kick where it sounds good. Finally, we will add a bit more limiting to make the kick sound even smoother and stable, and we're ready to use it in our musical compositions. Our kick already sounds cool, but let's give it a real, trap character. To do this, let's go to Edison and start shaping the sound. First, we'll shorten the length of our kick. Then we'll make its attack smoother and softer. It sounds amazing for phone recordings. Now it's time for the final touches. Let's add an equalizer and emphasize the high frequencies. Let's remove unnecessary frequencies in the mid-range. We'll add our last transient shaper to give the kick even more punch. Well, we've done a lot of work and got a decent result. Now let's take a look at how our kicks work in arrangements. Thank you for watching. I hope this video on kick synthesis helped you learn more about creating a unique and powerful sound for your music compositions. Remember that kick creation is an art that requires patience, creative thinking, and sound engineering skills. Don't be afraid to experiment, adjust parameters, and add your own style. Ultimately, what you create will be a part of your unique musical identity. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss out on new videos on music production and creating music. Good luck on your creative journey.